Oh, so annoying when I work so hard to get something together. I knew something was wrong when somebody messaged me. John Smith said, "Hey, you might want to check your title." Yeah, when I do restream, there's a window. I'll show you the window. Here's the window where all my. So I'm sending this out to Twitch, 3 Facebook pages, YouTube, Periscope, and right there's update titles. And if I don't update that title, the last title that I had up, which was for a tornado or rotation, shows up in the post. So it's a inconspicuous little button there, but actually it's what you read when you see the live video. So I want to do another one. Plus the Facebook feed to my personal page wasn't working properly, and the YouTube wasn't working, but I've got them all working now. So we're going to do a quick recap, just so we can have something to end on. That's actually a good thing. I never got a chance to show this anyway, so let me go. This is WSV3. It's going to snow. Our sponsor here, Whistler Plumbing and Air, they sponsor temperature. Snow's related to temperature, so I wanted to give them a freebie for this video here. I like to spoil my sponsors every now and then. Let's look at the last 8.5 hours. Now, what I have plotted for you on the screen, these are temperatures at 5,000 feet, and anywhere that's plotted is cold enough for snow. Anywhere that's not showing up is too warm for snow. You see how we're riding that line. Now don't worry, as the moisture closes in, it will effectively pull the colder 5,000 foot temperatures that need enough cold, to get snow. It'll pull that down. But you can see the moisture scooting along here through Florida. There's a lot of moisture down in the Gulf of Mexico. So, imagine if this thing had got its act together even more. That said, it's disjointed. There's a low in Memphis or around Nashville. There's another one in Charlotte. There will be a third one forming off the coast of North Carolina. But if we just look at this loop here, that can tell you a lot about what's going on. You can start to see the Virga make its way, and Virga is precip that's the radar sees that's not reaching the ground. That's getting as close as Statesville into Charlotte, North Carolina. You can also see the effect of the second batch of energy, showing us some rain showers, probably very light, some snow activity, maybe snow flurries, nothing too heavy. What will happen is, as this continues to scoot along, there should be a pretty good area of snow that develops between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. for most of the area, enough to coat the ground, maybe up to 2 to 3 inches in some other spots. But you can see how awfully close it is to just some rain at the moment. That line snaking its way through southern Franklin County. But again, once we introduce moisture with that, we'll be able to get that more in the way of snowfall. So here are temperatures as we speak. We'll zoom it on in here and show you that we are in the 30s in most areas, despite having a day today which made it up into the 50s. 39 Roanoke. When I forecast snow and we're on the line like this, I like to see temperatures below 40. We need them around 38 or 39, and then we can get some snow out of that if we can have some drier air within that, which we do, and some dynamics, which we also have dynamics. So I think we're going to be okay. It'll be a very beautiful wet snow. It'll cling, even if it doesn't stick all that much, it's going to cling to the branches of the trees, and it's going to be a very pretty snow by the time you wake up. All right, so if you're waking up around 6 or 7 anyway. Not much to write home about moisture-wise. I can show you the satellite picture here, the infrared satellite. Trying to show in this this presentation a little bit quicker and a little bit different maps here, so they don't all look the same. When I worked at channel 10 and 13, I wanted to make all my shows, you know, if you tune into the 5 o'clock news or weathercast and you tune in to 5:30, tune in to 6, tune into the now 7, you kind of want them all different. You're not going to just sit there, and I know different audiences watch. I tried to mix it all up, is what I'm saying, which is why I have an addiction to subscribing to all the weather that I do, the weather data. This is a different look at it. You can see the rain just in shower form here. The congealed area of rain is down across Florida. So ideally, yes, I would like to see this not even broken apart, but we've got the streaky nature to the rainfall. But again, this will become more organized, I think, in the coming 2 to 3 hours. Temperatures outside, again, 34 Lynchburg, 36 in one of the backyard thermometers across Amherst County, 37 Rocky Mount, 33 at the lake in Goodview. And again, that's cold enough. So let's see what we can do here. This is an updated water vapor picture. And again, we've got moisture showing up. It won't be long now before this gets on down to the ground, and it may start as some rain, but then it's going to end up being snow as it scoots on along. Here's where the Weather Prediction Center has everything tonight. And it's a good setup for snow because we've got low pressure coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. It's disorganized, so you see multiple lows there on your screen. But again, it gets in here and it starts snowing fairly heavily because it'll be a clumpy wet snow. And you can plop down a quick coating to 2 inches, I think, in a situation like that. So I'm not really banking on really heavy snow, although it may come down pretty hard. I'm just banking on the fact that it'll be like 35 degrees and big flakes falling for a few hours right before the sun comes up. And I think that'll be enough to get the ground white in many locations. Highest elevations above 2,000 feet, you're going to see maybe 2+ inches of snow, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. And some of the bands that set up. Although right now the moisture doesn't look all that impressive. So that is something to look at as we go after midnight tonight to see if it can't get its act together. But by 7 a.m. in the morning, it ought to be snowing pretty good area wide. It's out of here, moving east by 1 p.m. But there's a second area here. Look at that. That's the second upper level system that could have caught this thing and made it bigger than what it is. Nonetheless, what's left of it comes through here behind the main system and brings us some scattered snow shower activity. So in terms of, like, if you're a snowflake buff, you just like to see anything falling, regardless of whether it's tied to the main system or not, and most meteorology people were happy to get what we can get. We'll see a second surge of snow flurries and snow showers behind the first one for tomorrow afternoon and evening. There, after Tuesday, it starts to warm up and we start to get another storm system in a much milder fashion for the weekend. Next weekend looking rainy for Saturday going into Sunday. Numerous projections are out there. The latest, let's see if I have any of the very latest. The latest 21Z guidance off the SREF. And this is for Roanoke. Averages just shy of 2 inches. Each model is shown here. So that's what it looks like for Roanoke. I can look around here. I didn't do much of that in my first update. But let's go to, say, Lynchburg. Lynchburg, your average is at 1.55. But you've got a number of these plumes up here around 2 or 3 inches. Farmville, your average is right there at about 1.75. Richmond, your average is at 1.25. Charlottesville, you even have an average at about 1.25. Blacksburg, you're averaging just shy of 2 inches on this latest run. Martinsville, you're averaging 0.7 inches. These are not set in stone, just to kind of show you where all the different modeling is pointing to. Danville at 0.7 inches. Mount Airy at 0.3. Blacksburg at 1.6. So these are some of the highest totals, that we're seeing. And I showed you this earlier, but you got to pay attention to the overall placement and the degree of, how big is that 1 inch area. So that 1 inch area is a blend, like we just saw a second ago, and that now covers most of our area, except for the extreme south side areas. So again, coding the two. Going to ride with that, and again, it could be some heavier bands that set up from time to time as this thing begins to crank. And you can kind of see that in the latest HRRR. You get, these are 15-minute updates here. These are this is made to handle thunderstorms, but look how quickly we go from just light rain to dark blue, and it's that dark blue that'll be that heavy clumpy snow, and that's going to happen if the HRRR is correct. After midnight, say 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, up to 3 in the morning. That's about 3:30, 4 in the morning. And really, if you wake up too late, you might miss a lot of it falling according to the HRRR. Look where it goes, though. It goes into Richmond, all the way up to the Chesapeake Bay. Now, Tidewater, it turns back to rain because of the boundary level temperatures. And then you've got the bonus snow flurries out here. I like saying the bonus word because you got to take every flake and roll with it. God's going to give us what he's going to give us, and we need to appreciate it. But a pretty good snow burst here coming by 12:45 p.m. through the NRV. The UK Met today, which is the second most accurate model, it's been having a hard time figuring out what's going to happen with this, but I'm just looking for moisture off this thing and the pattern that we're in. And it went from having some moisture to no moisture back to having some moisture in the latest run. You can see here by 12Z Monday, which is 7 a.m. You can see it across the southeast there within the rain snow line. The snow line's down here across Carolina. We've got a fairly decent area of rain, of moisture that'll be falling as snow rather, and then the rain's down here to the south. Then by the early afternoon, it hangs around a little more on the UK Met, which is something I wanted to point out because there is a second area of energy that will be lingering back here across Kentucky. Can it catch this morning stuff that's sliding in right now? Can it catch it? It would, and if it does, it will cause the snow to maybe hang around in a lighter fashion, but hang around a few more hours and maybe add to some totals out there. That would be sweet if that happened, and it's possible. That's why I've got locally higher amounts in there for you. Average of all the models, all the different Euro ensembles, puts the bullseye right where the Schreff is, right across 460, maybe a little farther south than 460. But if you live in Bedford or Montville, I think that's a pretty good place to be. Lynchburg too, Rocky Mount, Roanoke here, up to Blacksburg, and north of Henry County here, Chatham. That's going to be a pretty good place for snow. I do think an inch to an inch and a half is certainly possible. And we got to remember, this is an average. There'll be some lower spots that get lower than this, and there'll be some spots that may get a bit higher than this, especially in the mountains above 2,000 feet. It'll be easier to get to that 2-inch mark, but you're looking at an average there. Right now, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we've got the snow line again pretty much over the entire area, so it's not as warm aloft as I just showed you, and that is some good news. Temperatures are packed near the coast. That keeps the storm system there. Even though we've got low pressure over Asheville, North Carolina, there's going to be a new area of low pressure developing along the coast where we see the energy shifting and the temperature contrast setting up to encourage that second low development. And that second low will also help draw in the colder air. So look what happens on the RAP. This is the 0Z, the new RAP. Much like the HRRR and much like the Euro and the other models we've been showing you here, by 4 or 5 in the morning, it's snowing hard across NRV, Radford, Pulaski, Galax, even Franklin County starts to get some snow. And then throughout Roanoke, it's snowing at a decent clip here, according to the model. I think that'll be correct. But then we move into a heavier snow across Southside and even up against Richmond once again by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So it could be a fast mover, but it could also affect areas that you wouldn't think would be affected, like Richmond, maybe up to Williamsburg, we'll see, Danville, and maybe parts of Mount Airy. We'll wait and see on that. But we start to see another back edge here, or if a lull, you want to call it that, because look in Kentucky. Look at the second area. That's not going to be a big deal, but it's enough to keep clouds and snow showers going for a few of us tomorrow afternoon and evening. There's our low, way offshore. Again, if you want perfect snowstorm, you want the 6-inch stuff, you need that low to be here. And it's actually not without mentioning that something like that could happen. It's more likely going to be just off the coast. But it's not going out to sea, so that did correct itself, and we were right on that one. So that's your update for right now. Lots of people checking out my Patreon here. I've got the individual snow totals, like you can actually look here and see each run of the Euro and see all 51 runs. And you can see the average here, which is around in the Euro 1.5 to 2 inches. And you can actually look and see that there's a run that had 2.5 to almost 3 inches. There's a 4.1. There's a 3.1. So if you're into that type stuff and you want to see maybe what's the next potential storm, stuff that I don't have the certainty to forecast just yet, but maybe you want to look at it. It's $1 a month, and I post stuff like this all the time. I've posted several things already, according how to read those plumes and stuff. But let's see if we have any more advisories out. I think we still just have the winter weather advisory out for northwest North Carolina with up to 5 inches maybe in Gatlinburg and the higher elevations here. But snow will be on the way. It's coming on in. It'll be on the way, I believe, by 3 to 4 in the morning. So I'll be up throughout the night checking on things. Don't forget to send me your reports. And stay safe, everybody. It could be a little bit of a slick go of it in some of the north-facing roadways that don't see a lot of sunlight, especially in the morning. Colder spots may become slick, even though it's not tremendously cold. If it snows hard enough, your totals don't have to be high, but if it snows hard enough at just the right time, that can also create some havoc on the roadways. So it's not out of the question that we could see some slick roads. Anytime you're dealing with anything wintry, you need to be aware of that. Have a good night. Have a good morning tomorrow.